is Monday, September the 7th of 2015, and today I'm going to tell you guys a little story. But before we do that, will you stupid Packard Bell shut up? There we go. Sometimes you just gotta be a little rough. Okay, anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, it's time that I feel we should talk a little bit about a story of mine. Let's take a little trip back to 2003. Not that I really want to, actually, but I'm going to do it anyway. In 2003, I had just bought my Dell Dimension 2350, which was a fantastic computer, still one of the best computer purchases I've ever had in my life. And not long after that, I got to thinking, you know, I really wouldn't mind having something just like this to take with me on the road and to use in my bed. So I decided to start saving up for a laptop after countless hours using my Dimension 2350 and wanting more of it, and also using my dad's Dell Inspiron 2650, which was a pretty good laptop, by the way. I'll have to do a video about the history behind it someday once I come across another example of one, but story for another day. Anyway, being only 13, 14 years old, you can imagine that saving up for an entire computer system was not going to be an easy task. I'd already made up my mind what brand I wanted. It had to be a Dell and nothing else, because at the time I was just the biggest Dell computer fanboy you can imagine, because I loved my Dell Dimension 2350 so much. I loved my dad's Dell Inspiron 2650 so much that I figured, why not get another Dell? It's like my good friend Jay Wakefield, aka Video Son Frontiers, likes to say, when all else fails, get a Dell. So, anyway, fact of the matter was, it was going to take a long time to save up for a laptop, because back then, laptops, well, they were cheaper than they were in the 90s, but still kind of expensive, especially for a teenager like I was, with no job and relying only on birthday and Christmas money. So, in 2004, January of 2004, at the age of 14, I opened up my very first savings account at the bank and started putting money away towards my future laptop. And I did as much as I could to get that laptop. Again, I didn't have a job at the time, so I mainly relied on birthday money, Christmas money, holiday money, that kind of stuff, like gift money, basically, from various holidays. And eventually it did add up. Slowly but surely, I saved throughout most of the year 2004, and which, by the way, since we're talking about 2004, I feel it's necessary that we play this sound effect. If you haven't guessed by now, the year 2004 was not a very good year for me. But again, story for another day. But anyway, back to the laptop here. Eventually, I did save up enough money, and by November of 2004, I had enough money to buy one. And right after my 15th birthday in 2004, I bought it. Now, throughout that year of saving up, I did quite a bit of research on various Dell laptops at the time to figure out which one was the best. I remember there was the Dell Inspiron 1100, which I really liked because it was blue. It was back when a lot of Dell Inspirons you could get in various colors, which was kind of a neat little feature of the time. And eventually I started looking at the Dell Inspiron 1000, which was pretty much the cheapest, most low-end possible laptop that you you could get from Dell in the year 2004. And I'm glad I passed up on that, because instead I finally ultimately decided on the laptop I wanted, the Dell Inspiron 1150, which I bought and paid for at the end of 2004. Actually, I believe I bought it when I was 14, very end of my age of 14. And because I bought it right before my 15th birthday, and I got it after my 15th birthday. I got it, I believe it was I want to say November 30th of 2004, so it was right after my 15th birthday. But anyway, I got that laptop. I was so excited for it, so excited that I just could not contain myself, pretty much. Don't worry, I didn't lose control of my bodily functions. That would have been rather disgusting. But I got the laptop November 30th, 2004, evening hours, and fired that laptop up, and it was just as I had hoped for. Thing ran beautifully. Specs of it at the time, when I got it, it had a 2.6 gigahertz Intel Celeron, based upon the desktop Pentium 4s at the time. At that time, Dell thought it was a pretty good idea to use desktop-style CPUs in their laptops, which eventually became that laptop's downfall, which I will explain a little bit later. It also had 256 megabytes of RAM, which, believe it or not, at the time was not the best, but it got the job done, and it got the job done well enough for me. Also came with a 30 gigabyte hard drive. Again, kind of small for the time, but for the year I had it, I didn't ever really run out of hard drive space, if you can believe that, with all the junk I would store on my computers at the time. And it had a DVD-ROM / CDRW combo drive, no floppy drive. It was my first laptop we ever had that didn't have a floppy drive on it. Anything else I should mention about the specs on that? Nothing too exciting. Typical laptop stuff at the time. And the operating system was good old Windows XP Home Edition. Came preloaded with Service Pack 2. First computer I ever had that came preloaded with XP's Service Pack 2. Before that, I would have to install the update manually. But anyway, I love that thing to death. I use that thing to death, quite literally, as I will get to momentarily. That laptop defined the age 15 for me. And remember, I would use my Dell Dimension 2350 all day. It was about a week after I got the Inspiron 1150 that I decided to move the Dell Dimension 2350 from my bedroom out here to what at the time was my office. It had just become my office, actually. And I started using the Inspiron 1150 exclusively in my bedroom, either at the desk in my bedroom or in my bed. And that setup out here and in my bedroom worked quite well for a good while. And you know, it was I had a lot of good times with that laptop throughout 2005. I say 2005 because even though I got it in 2004, I got it at the end of 2004, and most of my time with it was spent in 2005. If you don't like it, then go away. But you know, it was the laptop that got me through my earliest possible period of 90s nostalgia and Carolina Circle Mall archiving. You know, you always see the Carolina Circle Mall carousel on my computer wallpaper in my videos of my more modern machines. Well, the first computer I ever had to have that wallpaper on it was the Dell Inspiron 1150, because the person who emailed me that picture back in March of 2005, well, I originally opened said email on the Inspiron 1150, and so it wasn't long after that, probably the same day, I set it as my wallpaper on there. And I remember even in early 2005, I was in 8th grade at the time, and I would actually take that laptop with me to school at Pendle Hill Christian School. And believe it or not, the teachers there and the faculty was perfectly okay with me doing that. And I was probably one of the earliest people in this particular geographical location to take their own computer to school with them. And I remember the first day I took that laptop with me to school. I was so popular that day. Nobody was actually, my classmates were not jealous of me. They thought I was the coolest guy in the whole school. They would come up to me and, hey Billy, let me play with your laptop here. And it was pretty cool, actually. And of course nowadays, I think every kid, their mother, their cousin, second uncle twice removed from their third cousin, divided, whatever that means, takes their own laptop to school. But back in 2005, that was still a pretty new thing at the time. And I never had a single issue with that laptop either, until, and this is where it gets kind of tragic. At the end of, toward the end of 2005, I remember it was it started happening on November 30th, 2005, exactly 1 year after I got that laptop. I was lying in bed, I guess browsing the internet on that laptop, checking a few things, when all of a sudden, the whole system just completely shut down on me. Like I had held down the power button to do a cold shutdown. And it scared me, but I was able to turn the laptop back on, and it powered right back up with no problem. And I figured, oh well, random fluke there, I'm going to try not to worry about it. Unfortunately, about 2 days later, it happened again. It shut down on me. I don't remember the circumstances for when it happened that second time. And then it started getting more serious when it started shutting down on me at school. Probably when I was doing some schoolwork, and that was rather inconvenient, as you can imagine. And by December of 2005, it got to the point where it was just shutting down on its own so constantly that I couldn't really depend on it. I would I had to borrow my dad's Inspiron 2650 for about a month, while we were figuring out what the heck was going on with my 1150. And we eventually found out that, well, the motherboard was failing on it. Remember earlier in this video when I mentioned that the laptop used a desktop style processor? Well, I think that may have been its downfall. If I had to guess, it was probably overheating, and it was probably breaking things on the motherboard that should not have been broken. And I would occasionally use it on and off throughout the next month until finally it just shut down for the last time in the middle of January of 2006, and it never powered on again. You would have thought I would have been angry and wanted to spite Dell for everything they put me through with this laptop. But you know what? I wasn't mad. I was just extremely sad because I love that laptop. I did so much with that laptop. It gave me so many good moments that I couldn't be mad at it. Instead, I mourned it. And as you can imagine, if you've seen my previous videos, when the Dell Inspiron 1150 died for good in January of 2006, that's when I purchased the Dell Inspiron 6000, which you've seen featured in various videos of mine on this throughout the past couple of years. If you want to go check them out, just search for Dell Inspiron 6000 on my channel, and there you go. Found out not long later that that series of Dell Inspirons were plagued with motherboard failures. A lot of people had the exact same problem with them, and in fact you really can't find too many working examples of them in the year 2015 because so many of them died so early in their lifespan, which was quite a shame because they were really good, reliable laptops until they cooked themselves, that is. So yeah, it was a heartbreaker, really. And I eventually sold it on eBay for parts in 2007. So I finally got rid of it then, and I haven't really seen a Dell Inspiron 1150 in person ever since. Until a week ago. About 2 weeks ago, I was browsing eBay, just out of curiosity, typed in Dell Inspiron 1150, and I found a Inspiron 1150 being sold for parts in from a Goodwill up in Maine for about $15 and $15 shipping, so in total about $30. All it needed was a hard drive and a power cord, both of which I had, and a picture of it showed it at the BIOS screen, meaning that it powered on. So I figured, why not? I bought it, and it arrived here about a week ago, and and it works just fine, except for one little issue I will explain later. But let's go ahead and take a look at my second ever Dell Inspiron 1150. And here we are with the second ever Dell Inspiron 1150 that I have ever owned. And wait, there's something wrong here. Can't believe I could have messed this up. I forgot to plug my USB 2 card into the side of the machine here. There we go. Ah, there, that's more like it. This is the second ever Dell Inspiron 1150 that I've ever owned. I've owned this for about a week now. In fact, a week ago today was when I got it. So, the specs of this particular Inspiron 1150 are almost completely identical to my original Inspiron 1150 from 2004. This one also has a 2.6 gigahertz Intel Celeron, also a desktop style chip, which thankfully this one still runs. Has although unlike my last one, this one has 512 megabytes of memory, which could have been upgraded at some point, I don't know. My original had 256 megabytes. I do intend to upgrade this to 1 gigabyte of RAM. In fact, I'll probably be doing that tomorrow because I'm expecting a package from the PowerMac Galaxy, which will include 1 gigabyte of DDR1 memory for laptops, which I have a severe lack of, unfortunately. Still has the DVD-ROM/CDRW drive, and Windows XP Home Edition, which is now running Service Pack 3, actually, which you can imagine, seeing that we're in 2015 now. So let's take a tour of it. We'll start with the front. You get 2 stereo speakers, which don't sound too bad for what they are. You get a power LED, something you never see on laptops anymore for some reason, a hard drive LED, and a battery LED. The battery in this still holds a very, very tiny charge. I say you can get about 5 minutes out of it, but it still kind of works, I guess you could say. On the right side, you get the battery, a 56K dial-up modem. I never used this on my original 1150, and I don't intend to use it on this one either. Get a cooling fan, Kensington lock slot, and we'll move to the back. And we get a another cooling vent. The power plug. I believe this is a blanking plate for an S-video output, which probably would have been used on other Dell Inspiron 1150s at the time that use a similar chassis. Another vent there. Two USB 2.0 ports which do not work, unfortunately. I will explain more in a moment. VGA out. Ethernet. One PC MCIA card bus slot, which is populated with a Belkin USB 2.0 card. Because, as I mentioned, the USB ports do not work. Hard drive caddy is right there as well. Like I mentioned, this did not come with the hard drive when I got it, but I did have a 60 gigabyte Hitachi Travel Star that I put in here, which is double the space that was on my original 1150, believe it or not. Get headphone out, microphone in, the DVD-ROM/CDRW combo drive, and there we are. Now let me hook this camera up to the charger, and we'll take a look at what's under the lid. Alright, here it is all opened up in all its glory. This is the inside of the Dell Inspiron 1150. This particular model has a lot of dust on it. This is the 14-inch screen with the larger bezel around it, just like my original had. The Inspiron 1150, you could have gotten it with a 15-inch screen and a smaller bezel around it, but since I cheaped out when I was 14 years old, I went with the smaller screen, bigger bezel, which this one also has, making it even more identical to my original. Get the standard issue Dell keyboard at the time. Like I said, like a lot of people have said, probably not the best keyboard you could get on a laptop, but it does the job. You get a power button and a Dell Access Direct button. This was something that Dell included on their Inspiron laptops in the early to mid 2000s, which was nothing more than a shortcut button. It defaulted to where if you press the button it would open Internet Explorer, but you could configure it to open any program that you really wanted. So basically it's just a button, and if you press it, it'll open up a program. Then you get your classic touchpad. Left click, right click, left click, right click, left click, right click, left click, right click. Shut up, Billy. And if you haven't been able to tell yet, I got the charger hooked up to it, which we get a charging LED. Not that it's really going to do us any good to charge it, but at least it'll give us power. So let's go ahead and fire it up, shall we? We'll go into the BIOS first. Okay. 2.6 gigahertz Celeron, 512 megabytes of RAM. Has an Intel 852 GM video card. I believe it's the same. That's the same number for the chipset as well. 14-inch XGA screen. Sigmatel 9750 audio on it. Connexent D480 modem. 60 gigabyte hard drive added by me, and the CDRW DVD combo. And there's the service tag for this particular machine. I ought to take a look at it sometime. Go to the next page here, just select your boot order. You may notice something kind of interesting here. This is kind of unusual for a laptop this old. It has built-in Wi-Fi. Now, back in 2004, when I first bought my original, it also had built-in Wi-Fi. And I gotta tell you, that was pretty cool for the time. Didn't really have a very good signal range on it. Like I would be at school, and the router would be on the other end of the school, and I would have trouble connecting to the internet there. So I remember I had to buy a USB Wi-Fi card to plug into the back of here so I could get a better signal, which kind of stunk, but hey, it worked well enough for me. Go to the next page. And battery is charging, just barely. Power management and security. I'll go ahead and get out of here and boot into Windows. Booting into Windows XP. And here we are. It'll probably take a minute or so to boot up. It's only running on 512 megabytes of RAM, so and you know what? I have to say, I gotta give praise to this laptop. Despite it being 11-ish years old, it actually still performs quite well with Windows XP, with all the modern day updates and the unofficial Service Pack 4. Takes a little bit to boot up, as you can imagine, but what do you expect? However, it does really show its age when you connect it to the internet and try to browse the modern day websites with it, like Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff that's heavy on Flash and JavaScript. It really slows this poor thing down. It'll probably be a little bit better once I get 1 gigabyte of RAM in here, but I really don't have too many needs for running this on the internet. The only time I really need network access on here is if I want to copy something to and from here from another computer, like my desktop or something. I wonder if it's connected to my Wi-Fi or not. Oh, wait a minute. Last time I was using this, I had it hooked up to Ethernet and I had the Wi-Fi disabled. Okay, what's the... oh yeah, gotta do it the old-fashioned way. I'll be surprised if it picks up my network from all the way out here in the workshop, because this is a separate building. Yeah, I remember having to do this all the time back in the day. Going to the Start menu and going to the Connect To menu. Oh yeah. If it connects, I'm going to be so surprised. But I really don't need to take it on the internet right now for this video. There's really nothing to see. So it's taking its time enabling. There we go. Yeah, just as I thought, we're too far away from my router. Oh well, it's like I said. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, huh? Oh yeah, remember that little yellow, my goodness. I don't believe it. It connected. This old thing with one of the earliest built-in wireless cards you could get on a laptop actually connected from this far away. Wow. You done good. You done good. Keep up the good work and I'll buy you an ice cream. Now let's take a look at the software end of things. It's a little bit sluggish at times, but hopefully the RAM upgrade that I'll hopefully be able to do tomorrow will speed things up just a little bit. Alright. Let's see what we got here on our roster. Got CPU Z, Cyberlink Power DVD. I believe this is version number 6. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on, boy. Got Dell Quickset, Dell Wireless, Display Fusion, which is some kind of shareware wallpaper application that kind of helps out with wallpaper features on Windows XP. Foxit Reader for reading PDF files. Regular roster of Windows XP games, including the Microsoft Plus games for XP. Image Burn, Roller Coaster Tycoon Deluxe, Microsoft Encarta 2004, which is part of WorkSuite 2004, which originally came with my original 1150. Now this is a somewhat different version of WorkSuite 2004 because unfortunately I don't have my original copy anymore, and this copy is actually the UK version that a good friend Jay Wakefield sent me. So instead of Microsoft Streets and Trips, you get Microsoft Autoroute, which instead of maps for the United States, you get maps for the United Kingdom. So I really didn't have any use for that, so I skipped the installation for that. And there's the aforementioned Microsoft Works. We may take a look at that in a little bit. Power ISO, WinRAR, and Microsoft Office 2002, aka Microsoft Office XP. My original did not have any full copy of Office on it other than Word 2002 that came with WorkSuite 2004. Picture It Photo Standard 9 from WorkSuite. Microsoft Security Essentials. I know it's not the best in the world, but this laptop really won't be doing much internet use, so who cares? Microsoft Word 2002, Mozilla Firefox, and all that good Windows XP goodness that you would expect. My nose is running right now for no apparent reason. So, let's make Jay Wakefield happy and take a look at WorkSuite. Got a lot of mileage out of WorkSuite 2004. Come on. There we go. Amazing how much patience I had with these old Windows XP Pentium 4 era machines when I was a teenager. They were slow. I'm not going to lie to you. And it was mostly my fault because at the time I didn't have the best techniques for keeping a computer fast and stable. Well, I kept them stable but not really fast because I would have all this startup crap and all that good stuff, so it would take forever for a computer to start up, but I learned to live with it. I don't know how I did it, but I lived with it. This went for the Inspiron 1150 and the Dimension 2350, so yeah. I guess I was just more patient back then. And there's WorkSuite 2004. I always loved the calendar on here for some reason. I always found it very handy. So we got Word, Spreadsheet, Database, Encarta, and Picture It Photo. Let's start up Microsoft Word. Gotta have patience with these old systems. You're probably wondering, Billy, why did you buy an old unreliable laptop from 10 years ago? Didn't the original burst in flames on you? Well, first of all, it didn't burst in flames, it just simply died. And second of all, the thing is that I had so many good times with this laptop. It was when this was the laptop that I was using when I was first getting into nostalgia. You know, I remember in April of 2005, I was bedridden with a really, really bad cold. And this was my lifeline. I would sit in bed and research Carolina Circle Mall stuff and old Nickelodeon shows from the 90s from my childhood that week when I was just completely bedridden. And later in that same week, I was unable to sleep an entire night. And so throughout that night, I had the TV on Nick Gas, which is a TV channel I dearly miss. They showed all these old Nickelodeon game shows from the 90s and even a couple from the 80s. And I remember about 4 o'clock in the morning, that early morning when I was bedridden, watching Nick Arcade on Nick Gas while lying in bed with this Dell Inspiron 1150, actually doing research on the TV show Nick Arcade. So, yeah, this got me through a lot of turmoil, and it never skipped a beat until it had to die. Really hate that. And by the way, here's Microsoft Word. And that glorious what else should we take a look at? Let's go to my computer. Let's take a look at some system properties. Microsoft Windows XP Home Edition, version 2014. Thank you, Unofficial Service Pack. Added the custom Dell OEM info in here. Dell Inspiron 1150, Celeron CPU 2.6 GHz, 512 megabytes of RAM. Another interesting tidbit about the Inspiron 1150 was the first laptop I ever owned that had a built-in recovery partition. Even though it came with the Windows XP installation CD and a driver CD, it had a very little known at the time partition where you could do a complete factory image restore. And I remember taking advantage of that in October of 2005, and it was very convenient at the time, even despite all the bloatware it came with. So yeah, it was the first computer I ever used that had a built-in recovery partition. Now obviously this one does not, because this is not the original hard drive. It's probably long gone. Take a look at the device manager, see what we got going on. Hope you guys aren't getting bored yet. A really long video about an old Dell from the 2000s. Yeah, it really needs a RAM upgrade. Okay, we got a hard drive of a crazy model number. Intel graphics controller for the time. Obviously not very good, but never really did much gaming back in the day, so did the job well enough. Samsung CDRW DVD. I keep hitting the right click button for some reason. Synaptics touchpad. Connexent modem. Broadcom Ethernet controller. Dell Wireless 1350. PCMCIA. Processor, Intel Celeron CPU, I don't know the exact model right off the top of my head, and Sigmatel C Major Audio. Now, on to the, as YouTube user UXW Bill would call, the less inspiring part of this laptop. Last week when I first got this, after I installed a fresh copy of Windows XP, I had downloaded a bunch of drivers from Dell's website for this laptop, and I was going to, and I put them on my flash drive, and I plugged said flash drive into the back of the laptop there, into that to one of those USB ports. Didn't work. The computer did not recognize it at all. Plugged it into the other USB port, same thing. Didn't recognize it. Didn't even act like nothing was even plugged in. So I tried another flash drive, same thing. Didn't activate. I even plugged in a USB mouse. Did not see it at all. So I'm sad to say, folks, that this computer has dead USB ports. I'm toying with the idea of buying a used motherboard off of eBay that does work and hopefully has working USB ports, but I haven't completely decided yet. Depends on how insane I go without having working USB ports on this machine. Until then, if I ever do that, that's why I'm using this Belkin USB 2.0 card, which works with everything except, unfortunately, flash drives. Like, this is the flash drive I use for work. We'll plug it in. Yes. Didn't even try that time. So yeah, this antiquated USB card just does not like USB flash drives. Works with everything else, but flash drives are a no-no. So that's a shame. No, this does not have two CD-ROM drives. This E drive is a virtual CD-ROM drive provided by Power ISO. I know once I finish this video, there's going to be something I forgot to mention. It will drive me crazy. But I guess I might as well go ahead and end this video now. If you want to see anything else about this laptop, please, by all means, let me know. I'll try to see if I can do a video about that particular portion of the laptop. Go ahead and shut it down. But yeah, pretty cool to relive those days of 2005 when I was first getting into 90s nostalgia, which I just realized I am being nostalgic for being nostalgic. Yes, folks, I have reached that horrible, horrible point. I knew it would happen someday, but I was hoping it wouldn't be so soon. Hard drive LED is just on right now. Like I said, you had to have patience for these. Oh, it's Display Fusion. Go ahead and end it. I don't care. Come on. Come on. Give me do-do-do-do. Come on, where's the do-do-do-do? Isn't Windows XP supposed to go do-do-do-do when it shuts down? Is it? Huh? Come on. There we go. There we go. Just imagine how slow this would have been if it was trying to load a website. I tried it last week. I even tried opening up Facebook on here. I think it eventually did load, but it wasn't a pretty sight. It took about 10 minutes, I think. Maybe once I get this upgraded to a gig of RAM, it'll improve things just a little bit better. Don't have too many hopes for this, but this will be more of a time capsule than anything. So for now, I guess that's all there is to be said about this. This is Billy Core signing off on September 7th, 2015. Good night, everybody.